Thanks for listening to Mike Douglas, Michigan's retirement coach.
To debt or not to debt? That is the question that many Americans have. I think particularly as you get closer to retirement. Where is it okay to carry debt? Where is it a bad idea to carry debt? Let's talk to Michigan's retirement coach about it. This is certified financial planner Mike Douglas. I'm Heather Branch, here with Mike to ask him questions like this when it comes to your financial future. And as you are listening to this podcast or watching this video, if you want to connect with Mike and his team, you can do so. We've got links posted in the show notes, or go to our website. Find us anytime at michigansretirementcoach.com. And the idea about you and I have personally, as friends, have had conversations about mortgage debt. I think that that's as far as we've gotten with good debt versus bad debt, just because I'm not a business owner. So, I know that there's a whole nother level of this when you're in business as far as figuring out your debt and how to play your money and where you have to put it and those kinds of things. But speaking on the level of the average American is getting close to retirement, trying to figure out what they should be paying off, where they should be saving, et cetera. J.L. Collins is a financial author and not a fan of debt. And I've heard this from a lot of, is it Jim Cramer? And there's another guy, a national consumer advocate, Clark Howard, where they talk about get out of debt, pay off your mortgage, no debt, right?
Right.
And I mean, I understand the intention is right. They want people to not be in debt. For a lot of people don't know how to manage debt properly. So J.L. Collins, he feels it interferes with building wealth for retirement. However, he did tell Morningstar there is an instant in which he'd pause. This is what he said.
A good example of that is, suppose you have a mortgage from a few years ago that's 2, 3, even 4%. Well, in that case, I'd say, okay, if you're carrying debt that's less than 4% interest, maybe it's not such a bad idea to keep that debt and invest the excess money instead. If you're somewhere between 4 and, in my mind, maybe 6%, anything above 6%, absolutely, job one, blow off the debt before you do anything else.
Okay, so here's an example of the mortgage conversation like we were talking about, Mike. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this space?
I agree with JL on a couple things here. Okay. The rules for a long time was don't carry debt into retirement. Mm-hmm. The reason being, what was the average mortgage rate going into retirement? Well, it was, for a long time, it was in the teens. And then it was high single digits. Then it was 6 or 7% or 5%. But for those who refinanced or purchased back in like 2021, 2020, right around there, when we hit historically low interest rates, those interest rates will probably never come back around.
Right.
And your interest rate is deductible up to a certain percentage, right? So should you keep a mortgage that's at 3% and leave money in the market that can earn you 7, 8, 9, 10%? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a really solid case for that.
Yeah.
But so we've always used the rule of 50%.
Okay.
If I can safely, comfortably, consistently get 50% better than what my rate is, then I should leave it in the market. Because that's one of the questions that people ask all the time. Hey, getting ready to retire, should I take money from my 401k, pay off my house? That way I don't carry any debt in retirement and nobody can ever take my home from me.
Okay.
That's a very fair thought process and a very fair equation to weigh out.
So there is a quick math on that. If you have a mortgage rate of 3%, but you can get 6% in the market, leave the money in the market. Am I doing that right?
So
Am I
our rule would
correctly?
be 50% better, right? So it'd be like 4.5%.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a 3% mortgage, can you safely, comfortably, consistently get 4.5% or better in the market?
Got it.
Well, yeah, you can. Okay, then you should do it. If you have a 6% mortgage, can I safely, comfortably, consistently get 9% in the market? I mean, the market will do 9 to 10%, but you have to ride the S&P wave a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a 7.5 or 8% mortgage I got in 2024. Okay, or that's a tough number because now you're asking for 12%, 12 to 13% from the market safely, consistently, and reproducibly. That's going to be way harder, and you should get rid of the debt. Mm-hmm. So I kind of line up with JL on this because I would say I think 4% is a good place to start saying, hey, above 4%, it's a maybe. But also, you have to look at the consequence of taking money out of your 401k or your IRAs. What does it cost you in taxes to get it? Because to pay off a $60,000 mortgage or $100,000 mortgage from your retirement accounts means that now I'm going to pull out, if it's a $100,000 mortgage, I'm going to pull out $120,000, pay taxes to put $100,000 in my mortgage to get rid of my mortgage. Well, that's a whole different equation because I just added $20,000 to my mortgage. And now probably more taxes to my Social Security that year.
Okay.
So if you are deducting the mortgage interest, and if you are not paying you're not paying taxes on it anyways, you may want to consider keeping it. There are good forms of debt, and we've got some rules of thumb here. Low interest, tax advantage debt, like mortgages, home equity loans, may be worth keeping if the interest rate is lower than your expected investment returns. Bad debt. There is nothing positive about debt that's high cost, isn't tax deductible, and is taken to buy an asset that will likely depreciate. Nerdy conversation, but it's basically saying my house goes up in value all the time. It can come down for a season, but over time it will go up again.
Right.
So it's an appreciating asset. It's growing, it's doing better. And so I firmly believe that a house is a good investment. But I listen to some podcasts and I hear them talk about, man, when you're young, if houses are expensive, you should just rent and you should invest money in the market. I hear that too.
Okay.
But the investment keeps going up. A car. If I buy a car, it's the worst stock you'll ever purchase because the day you buy it, it drops by 10% to 15%. And then it'll never be worth what you bought it for again. So we can't look at a car as a good asset. So if you have high interest on a depreciating asset like a car, that's a thing you may want to get rid of. Now, a lot of people can't come up with 30 to 50 grand. I mean, 30 grand gets you a small car.
Right. Cars
You're not getting an SUV for 30
now.
grand.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the affordability stuff is a real issue, especially for young families.
Yeah.
How is a young family? I remember when you used to be able to get a brand new minivan.
Yeah.
When our kids were young, you could get a brand new Dodge Grand Caravan for like 18 grand.
I was about to say, was it even $25,000? Yeah. Now you can't even get a Honda Coupe used for 18 grand.
The Chrysler Town and Countries, the fancy, the rich people's van.
Right.
That was like 24 grand to 25 grand, but we weren't rich people. We were young people with young kids, and we were looking for the Dodge Grand Caravan, and thank God my parents gave us one. But it's just interesting how now to get that same car, you need 35, 40 grand. And if you're going into retirement and you say, oh, what am I going to do about my vehicle in retirement? Should I lease? Should I buy? I don't want to carry a loan because car loans they're coming down a little bit right now. I think I can see them in like the mid 4s now.
Yeah.
But for a while there, we went through a crazy season where interest rates were crazy high and people were paying over the MSRP for cars.
There was
and it's like, man,
what was it? The chip shortage that happened a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then like the used car market too. The used cars were costing as much as new cars. I had my car got what happened to my car? My car was declared total. I can't remember why, but I was caught in the middle of that and it was a nightmare. Yeah.
And it's a terrible time to buy. So we bought 2 cars in 2022. It was kind of a fluke thing, but
circumstantial.
Kimberly's car had an issue. So I bought one in January of 2022 and her rate was 2.75%. So that's a good rate on the car. And so we bought it. And in October of 2022, we were doing our tax planning for the end of the year. And our tax advisor said, hey, we need to have the company buy a car so it can be used as a depreciation or a tax break. So we did it. But the rate was 7%.
I was going to say, was it up to 6%? That's what we were dealing with. Yeah.
And it was the same year, the same price car, but a wildly different monthly payment. And so it's just interesting how those things work out. So when you and that's why we said, all right, we have to accelerate this down and knock it out real quick. But we wanted the tax deduction as a company. So just understanding good debt, bad debt. Ultimately, what should you do? The ideal scenario is if the scenario of being debt-free is out of reach, use a practical goal to pay down bad debt while keeping the good debt working for you. But you can have a tax-free or debt-free retirement plan. You can have a model that says, I don't have to pay taxes anymore on my income. I don't have to do it. Takes some time and some proactive planning, and it doesn't work for everybody. But for a lot of people, there are strategies to use to get rid of. That's one of the things. Do I pay down debt or do I Roth convert my investments? Those are both costly things. How should I do it? What makes more sense? Well, should I pay off this 9% loan or Roth convert? You probably should pay off the 9% loan.
Okay.
Well, should I pay off my 3% mortgage take $100,000 and do it? Or should I Roth convert $100,000 and rather keep the 3% deductible mortgage, but let everything go Roth and be tax-free for the future? So those are some of the strategies that people use and that we look through to say, what type of debt, what is the value, what's the longevity, what's the cost? Those all factor in and those matter. But for people out there, you just need to know this. Me, my money, my time saving this money, everything I've done over the past 25, 30 years to build, save, and prepare. Make a good informed decision. Don't be sold a decision and understand the consequences of it. So I have no problem if people say, I've got this mortgage, I want to get rid of it. I understand it. And when I sit down with clients and they say, I have no mortgage, and there is a tangible, like visceral, real relief on their faces. When we go through and say, I have no mortgage, they say there's certain words that you can't say without smiling.
Yeah. I
feel like I have no mortgage ends with the smile just because of what I see people do over and over again. Yeah. It always does that. Yeah. Oh, I have no mortgage. And so now, and their face just lights up. It's such a moment of pride. Yeah. It's like ringing the bell when your braces come off or the gong when you're cancer free. Yeah. Like, it's like one of these big things in life that's like, hey, I get to live this new life. Yeah. And no one can take my home. Yeah. And then ironically, if you don't pay your property taxes, that's a whole separate issue.
That's another podcast, Mike. Do not go down that path. We're talking about
land
debt.
Ownership. Do you actually own your land? Right.
Oh boy.
But for people though, in real life, it's a great thing to have a debt-free retirement. However, there is a cost to being debt-free, and you just want to make sure it's worth it. That's all.
Right. That's right. Well, there's a yang to every yang, and vice versa. And when it comes to smart money moves, the bottom line is you can read every book, check out every website that says smart money moves. But the parentheses that you might not notice is, for you, depending on your unique situation, please be sure to consult your own advisor, tax professional. These are the kinds of things that get left off of the book title. But of course, at Life Plan Financial Design, you guys working with individuals and couples every single day to figure out what's going to work for those particular families on their own goals and their own basis and analysis. But Mike's got to look at your circumstance situation to help you understand what your options are and the good debt, the bad debt, and what's worth it. And so if you have questions about these things, please be sure to click on the links we got posted in the show notes, or you can also just go to our website anytime, michigansretirementcoach.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit michigansretirementcoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.